The Lexus NX was introduced in 2014 and quickly became one of Lexus's best sellers, second only in sales to the popular and larger RX. To illustrate just how popular the NX is, in 2019, for every one RC coupe they sold, Lexus sold 10 NXs. With a new NX coming for 2022, I thought we'd take a look back at the small luxury SUV and figure out if it should make your short list if you're shopping for a used luxury crossover. So today, we'll meet the owner of this 2015 model with 60,000 miles, take it for a drive, share some of the highs and lows, see how it's held up, and we'll talk briefly about its main competition. The model we are reviewing in this video is a front-wheel drive NX200T, which eventually Lexus renamed to the NX300, meaning it has a 2-liter turbo engine making 235 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque paired to a 6-speed auto. Eventually, Lexus did make a hybrid available, the NX300H, sharing the powertrain with a RAV4 of the same period. The 2-liter turbo in this car is rated at 22 city, 28 highway, and the hybrid is rated at 33 city and 30 highway EPA estimated. All-wheel drive was also available on the NX. Driving the NX200T, one of the first things I have to get used to when I get in here is there's a lot of buttons. The trackpad, I can never get used to this trackpad really. But you said you're used to it and it's fine, right? So you're one of the people that likes it.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
So what do you use for navigation? Do you use what's built in, or do you use your phone?
Use sometimes what's built in. I used that a lot at first, but now the phones are so convenient with it. I tend to use my telephone. I tend to not use that unless I get in an area where my phone isn't working well, and then I'll use that. This car serves me very well. There's nothing wrong with it. It goes great. Mechanically, it's really sound, and I've had no trouble with it. So,
do you know about how many miles it has on it?
It has about 60,000 now, maybe 70.
And you've owned it basically since it was new. And this is the best color that I've seen on this car. I really like this blue color.
Yeah,
we'll show a video of that, but
I don't even know if they make that. I've seen very few, and when I've looked at the newer ones, I haven't seen this color, but they may have it. Most of my driving is local, other than occasionally. I said, hey, this is nice.
I'm a huge fan of this car. If I could change a couple things about it, because when Maggie and I were looking for a new car for her, I kind of looked at these. The cargo space is not that big. It's I guess you get used to it, but it's kind of small for the segment. The infotainment for me, I don't like. I don't think I get used to it. It's got a 6-speed automatic, so no CVT or anything weird. It's just a very silky, smooth driving car, which is what you expect in a Lexus product.
It's really comfortable, and he wasn't sure he would.
Very good, and they have a lot of adjustment.
Yep.
And also, this one has all the option packages, I think, because it's got the cooled seats and
it does
things. So this one probably has all the options.
I think it has everything. Pretty much everything
that you can get
on it. It didn't have a heated steering wheel, but living in Southern California where I live, I don't care about that.
But we should mention the last few cars you've had. So for a long time you've driven Japanese luxury brands, either Infiniti, Acura, or Lexus.
Correct.
Right? And so you had, I'm trying to remember, before this, did you have the MDX?
I had an Infiniti. Prior to that, I had an Acura MDX.
Right.
And prior to that, I had the older Lexus.
The first generation RX.
Right.
Which was that really started the luxury SUV movement. That exact car is what set off the whole luxury SUV. Because if you think before that car, you really didn't have luxury SUVs. That's what started it, that original RX. And you still see those things running around with 300,000 miles, running like new.
Yep. I liked the MDX a lot. When I went to the Infiniti, I like that too. It's very luxurious and comfortable, but it's bigger. I felt like it was bigger.
Yeah.
And it was way heavier, but the gas mileage was not very good in it. And just to drive around town, so I drove it for quite a while, but then I decided that I wanted something that was a little bit better on gas. And the gas mileage on this combined, I pretty regularly get between 23 and 25. I always get 25 if I'm on if I'm on the freeway more.
Right.
Lately. When I get another one, I will get the hybrid. I know.
Well, and you're just better off sticking with a Japanese luxury brand instead of going to the Europeans. I mean, people are going to flame me in the comments for this, but anytime you go into any of the European cars, you're going to be visiting a dealer more. It's going to have more issues. And if you were going to own it longer term, like more than 5 years, I would definitely not recommend any of them.
Well, I talked to, so that you're not alone in getting slammed on that. My mechanic, who I've used for years and who takes care of this car and has taken care of our cars, he's a great guy, and I talked with him, and because I really liked the look, as you know, of that one Mercedes, I forget.
The GLC, I think.
Yeah, buy one of those. He said, don't buy it, lease it, because that way when it breaks down, you're not going to be paying me all the time to fix it.
Yeah.
And he said, but if you're going to keep it, go get a Japanese car. Get a Toyota, get a Lexus like what you have. And you won't be visiting me all the time. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So it has drive mode here. Which I haven't even played with, but it's got Eco Sport Normal. I just drove it in normal, basically. I like that it still has a regular shifter. I just like a mechanical shifter like this.
That was another thing I didn't like about the Mercedes. The shifter was on the steering column, and
I don't know why German cars, they have tried to be fancy. It just makes it worse. Like BMW has the weird digital one, which doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't have paddle shifters. No. It's typical Lexus, like you feel like this is like metal or something, although it's probably plastic. But I like kind of how this comes out from the dashboard like this, kind of like juts out, and it's an attractive looking interior.
And the buttons are easy to use. They're pretty much
intuitive. They are pretty easy to use, and I like not having to go into a damn menu to do everything. Because all your climate is here. Now it has wood accents, at least this package has the wood accents on the doors and up here above, but the quality is everything you would expect, you know, from Lexus. The stitching, you feel like it will hold up forever. Okay, so one thing we were talking about when in our drive was the cargo capacity. So you were saying that it's plenty big for the stuff that you put in it, right? It's a pretty long, what I noticed is this is kind of sloped in the back. So you couldn't put like a big box here because it would hit the hatch, right? Yeah. So the front seat is where I was sitting and I'm 5'11" from my height. So we'll show people the back seat room is really comfortable. So again, that seat is where I sit. But then in terms back here, you could seat 3 people. I mean, again, this is the size of like your RAV4, your CRV. You know, when I sit in the middle, my head, the roof has to step down here to accommodate the moonroof. So when I sit here, my head's kind of touching the ceiling, and I'm 5'11". So just something to keep in mind if you're going to have 3 people back here. But I think a lot of people who buy this car are not going to carry 3 people in the back very much. There are vents in the back, which is nice. You do have a fold down thing with cup holders, which is nice. For road trips, you got a place to rest your arm. So you were saying how well this interior is holding up, even with pets and stuff, and it's true. Like these seats the leather doesn't show anywhere. I don't even know if it's a synthetic leather or real leather. But honestly, it's probably the synthetic one because it doesn't look like it's wearing out at all, and the synthetics tend to last longer. You can see the pet hair and stuff here, but it hasn't really taken any undue wear, considering it has 60,000 miles. So it's kind of what you expect with the Toyota Lexus quality. Now see, I like the front end styling of it. I like the kind of the sharp lines that they have with this grille. I'm a fan of the Lexus, but some people are not. I guess it's just a personal taste thing. So it has these kind of roof rails on it, which I guess you can attach. It looks like this would attach some sort of a crossbar. Right. Yeah, I can actually see the holes in the roof rack to attach it, but you don't have those. No. Have you ever put a cargo box up here or anything?
I haven't.
No, you don't need to. Yeah.
but Laura's shared with me that, you know, if she's shopping for a new car, she's probably looking for a hybrid or something that gets more towards that 30 miles a gallon or better. Because in this car, you're averaging around mid-20s, you know, low to mid-20s. Oh yeah, so we were talking yesterday about, see, the thing I like about this particular car, now other NXs might have different sized tires, but this has an 18-inch wheel. First of all, I think the wheels are pretty attractive, but what I was saying about it and what Laura was saying too is that it rides really soft, which is nice for most people because the tire, if you look at the size of the tire, it's a 60 series sidewall. It's a 235/60/18. As opposed to having like a 40, 45, or 50 series sidewall where they give you such a small tire and you feel every bump in the road. This gives you a nice amount of cushion, and I think this wheel size looks nice on the car. I've seen them with larger wheels, but honestly, I think this is the much better option. I don't agree with the trend of huge wheels on modern cars with tiny tires because then it really sacrifices your ride quality a lot. So you really have no regrets with this car. You would buy it again.
That's why, even though I was really kind of set on getting another car, I was just feeling like I wanted to get another car, and we looked at so many as we talked about before, but I just didn't find anything that I liked better. They had some fancy or new features that have come out since 2015, but nothing enough to make me, you know, spend the money to get a new car.
Right. There's no strange wear or anything on the seats. They're holding up really well.
And my husband, who drives it quite a bit, wears Levi's, so he's scooting out in and out with Levi's.
Right, with the jeans and
with probably... our other cars, that has shown wear on the edge of the driver's side seat.
Right, but this one really doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, so overall, a great vehicle. So if people are out there watching this, you're probably thinking about maybe buying a used one of these. These came out in 2015, so you have 4 or 5 years of used ones out there. And there's really nothing to really worry about with these cars. They're reliable, they hold their value really well, they're practical, and it's about the right size for a lot of people. Two people or maybe a small family with 1 kid, you'd be just fine.
If you're shopping for a used Lexus NX, please know that they did make some changes over the years. From 2015 to 2017, there were no significant changes. But in 2018, they did change some things. They changed the name to the NX 300, even though that model kept the 2-liter turbocharged engine. In 2018, it also gained a larger infotainment screen, 8 inches up from 7 inches. It gained forward collision warning with brake assist, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, and lane keep assist, and those were all standard. In 2019, they brought Apple CarPlay and Amazon Alexa, but they didn't have Android Auto. But in 2020, they added Android Auto, which was strange. They waited a year to do that. And then in 2021, finally, they added blind spot monitoring as a standard feature. And for 2022, the NX is supposed to be all new. Having driven Laura's car extensively with the 2-liter turbo, I do like the powertrain. It has enough power, enough torque, and I like the 6-speed automatic. I've also spent some time driving the hybrid version, and while it is slower, it does get you about 5 to 7 more miles per gallon. So if you're conscious of fuel economy, that's the one to get. Please know, however, that if you get the hybrid, you are stuck with the CVT, which is not my favorite kind of transmission. Ultimately, you should drive both and see which one you like the most, considering the fuel economy savings of the hybrid, of course. So let's talk briefly about the good, the bad, and the competition to this car. So I would say that the good things are the reliability, the comfort, the residual value or resale value, the styling, which is subjective, but I really like it, the standard active safety on the newer models in 2018 and later, and of course also the fact that you could get a hybrid if you wanted it. In terms of the lows, I'm going to say that the turbo engine can sound a little bit strained at times, a little bit grainy, but it's not terrible. The biggest low for me is definitely the infotainment, which I think was really terrible. It was helped when they added CarPlay and Android Auto in the past couple of years, but if you get one that did not have the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, good luck using that system. I hate it. Some people are able to use it, but I think it's horrible and one of the worst in the industry. The other downside is the small cargo area. At only 18 cubic feet, it really lags behind its competitors. So let's talk about the competitors. Now, the leader in this category usually is recognized as the BMW X3, and having driven everything in this category, I do have to agree with the automotive journalists who picked the X3 as the winner. The X3 is the sportiest to drive. It has a great interior. I like the styling of it. It handles really well, the powertrains are really strong, and you have a lot of choices. Overall, the X3 is really a hard car to beat. However, you also could look at the Audi Q5, which is very strong. The Mercedes-Benz GLC is very popular as well. The Volvo XC60 is a wonderful car. The Acura RDX, especially the new RDX, which is really an amazing vehicle. Some people look at the Infiniti QX50, although no one's really buying those, and I kind of doubt that Infiniti is going to stay in business much longer. There are other competitors like the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, but since no one really buys that, we're not going to talk about that. So wrapping up this review of the Lexus NX, this is a great used car. I'm not going to say it's a bargain because the resale values are very good and you're going to pay a decent price for one in good condition. However, if you're shopping in this category, you really can't go wrong with the Lexus NX. Just make sure that you can live with the infotainment and the smaller cargo area, and if you can live with those two things, I think you're going to be very, very happy. Do, however, drive the competition, especially, in my opinion, the BMW X3 and the Acura RDX. I hope this review was useful. Please give the video a thumbs up if this was helpful for you, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. This was Ian from Big Rock Media. Drive safe, and we'll see you on the next video.